So today I wanted to challenge myself and try and recreate some sounds of like the Doom soundtrack. And I wanted to only use free sounds or free plugins because I've got some free ones that I've been experimenting with and they're really cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And just want to preface this as well that I am no Mick Gordon. So don't try and compare me to that because the dude's a legend. Even though we're both Australian, I'm not on his level. So we'll take a quick listen to the track. So this is the session I got here. So to give you an idea of what I wanted to do with these sounds is I wanted to make different zones like in the game. So I've got like entering the fight zone, and this section here is like slaying the demons when you're actually fighting. This is like the transition out of that fighting. And this section here is like when you're doing the obstacles, like jumping around. So we'll take a listen and I'll dive into the sounds in the video. All right, so that's the track that we're working with here. So let's dive into each section. So obviously I've got drums, bass, and guitars. I'm not gonna worry about those too much because it's mainly the sounds of like the synths and stuff that are free and then I used. So we're gonna start off with the synths here, and in this bus here, I've got all the instruments I used. So we'll start off down the bottom here, and these are all free instruments I used. So the first one is, this is gonna be used a lot, is this Native Instruments. So it's Massive X, and this is the preset I'm using for this first sound. And let's take a quick listen to that one. And then it's obviously layered with this arpeggio pattern here, which I am using Prime Lead preset for that one. And I might have turned this animation on, but let's take a quick listen and see what that sounds like. So you can see there it's giving that lead line for that part there. The next one is by Contact, one of the Leap presets that they make, and it's this progressive trance one that you get for free. And what that is, I've got a bunch of stuff. Sort of how it works is they're different like presets. So if I play one here, so basically you get these different sounds with it here, these different key switches. And there's also these other ones here that have effects. So these other notes will like freeze the sound. So what I've done is like I've just laid a bunch of them. So some of them are freezes and little stops and stuff. Just kind of played around with it. And it sounds like this on its own. So it's just a background element there in the mix. So moving on next, we have some choirs. These are very low in the mix, but just to give it a little bit of ambience, I'm using two different libraries that are both free. The first one is the Contact one that comes with the free Contact library you get, and it's the Jacob Collier one, and it's the audience choir, which sounds like this. And the second one I have is by Spitfire Audio, and it's just the free pack you get, the choir long. So those two in the mix on their own. Next, I've got strings by Spitfire Audio as well. Obviously, again, another layer. So it's all about building different layers and textures and putting them together. Another contact, I think this could be another free library here that you get. This one is by Project Sam, and it's the free Orchestra 2. They had a first version that came out, and then they released a second one, and you get a bunch of different instruments, which is really cool. You get, I think I only used one instrument here, but you get all these ones free, and they sound pretty good. So what I used for this one, I just used this effect. Just like a brass effect, just to kind of lead into that little transition there, just a subtle effect. Next, we have Vital. So Vital is a synthesizer, sort of like Serum. So you can make your own sounds. I made this one, which is just like basically pretty simple. It's just white noise. You can see here, I made this white noise here with a filter, and that's really about it. And that sounds like this. It's just to give like some eeriness and vibe to the background. So that's this one here. So for me, that gives me like some cool, like weird vibe. So it's cool, just in the background. The next one here is by Spitfire Audio, and it's the Foghorn preset. And this one sort of reminds me of a sci-fi horror movie that I watched. And it has this really weird alien vibe to it. So kind of give that like demon, otherworldly vibe to it. So it sounds like this. Really cool sound on its own. The next one, same thing, using labs, but a different preset. It's the Ancients one. The only difference with this one is it's playing the E note, and then it drops down in the interval to a C lower, which is really cool. Then the next one here we have is Massive X, and it's on the Creatures preset. It's worth noting as well, this one does have some MIDI automation. You can see the E notes, this second one pitches down. So it starts at normal pitch, and then it pitch shifts like out of tune, which kind of gives it this really strange, cool sound to it. The background element, giving that sort of glitch effect, which I really like. Next one is Massive X again, Creatures preset. This one is the same, sort of doing the same thing, same pitch, same notes, but different preset. It sounds like this. Kind of reminds me when I played the Doom Eternal, just like that weird pulsing effect when you're sort of going around the different chambers and stuff like that in the different arenas. Massive X again, you can see I've just gone all in on this plugin because it has so many cool sounds to it. This is the Contender one, and nothing done to the MIDI, just straight notes. So we'll take a listen to that. So it's this bassy, like whoa, 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 whoa sound. And lastly, in the synths, we have the first preset, which is this drone sound here. And this one does have that pitch shifting as well, you can see. And it does the same thing where we're going from that E note to the C, which was in the bass. So let's take a listen to that one. I love that little tail bit where it just goes out of tune. Just sounds really cool. Just at that last little bit there. And that section all together, just with the synths. All right, moving on to the percussion. So this is the percussion that I have here, and there's not too many, but there are some cool free libraries in here. So we've got the first one here, which is a contact instrument, but it's by Keep Forest. See, I've used it a few times with different variations of what you can choose of the presets. So the first one, you can see at the start of the track, we've got this first one here, and I'm just using this preset here, this rolls long, and it sounds like this. And this is just to give impact to the transition. So really high quality sound there. There's another one that comes in later as well. So that just impacts basically. And then this one is on the shorts rolls one. So it's the same preset, but just on the short version. A lot of impact and air in it. So it sounds great. It stands out in the mix. It cuts through. The next one's this preset here. And basically what I'm doing with this one is I've just got the basic patterns. So you can change the patterns here. And I've just got one note held out. It's really to give like subtle rhythm, sort of like a hi-hat, almost like an instrument of a drum. And then the fourth one I have here is this preset here, this verb noise. And I added a few things. I added a transient designer and the saturation here, and I changed it to drums, and I just increased the attack on the transient designer. And that's for this section here. You can see that there is like a transition point here, and it's sort of automated with the volume. So it's to give that impact to the next section where it transitions into the Doomslayer, like fighting section. So that's all for the percussions, except for this part here, which is the hybrid drums. This snare I didn't use, so we can mute that one. And the kicks obviously are custom kicks, but the sounds here, the whole bass part of it and the rest of it here is all free instruments. We'll start here with this thing called Nasty. So this is Massive X again on this preset, this Yellow YOLO preset. We'll take a listen to that. So yeah, just chaos, like really cool sound, just to kind of give that like that madness, chaotic sound. Then we have this bass kick thing. It's not actually a kick, but it hits with the kick drum. That's why it's called bass kick. We'll take a listen to just one of them first. So the first one here, Massive X again, and this is the initial preset called Massive X. And there's some pitch shifting and stuff you can see here with this setting. Basically, these are hitting on the beat with the kick, and the notes kind of go up and down the octaves just from that B and C. So it sounds like this. So subtle pitch shifting in there. And then the next one, Massive X again. This is on the Idiot Walk preset. So it's got some like tails with the reverb and stuff, and it's sort of building and adding to those layers. Next one is Funky Donkey preset, Massive X. That sounds like this, basically following the other instruments. Gives it like this fuzzy sound. So all together. So it kind of sounds weird on its own, but we've got more elements to it, like the kick and everything. And next up, this is a Vital preset that I made. It's a basic Reese, so it's a Reese bass. So you can see it comes in with those notes there, stops, and it gives like that creepy vibe for a moment. And then here it does like the pitch shifting as well, where it shifts down on the second part. That sounds like this. Something about like a pitched, out of tune bass Sounds evil, sick. All right, and then we have, it's called Emo Fast, or Fast Emotions preset. So we'll take a listen to that. It's just some single notes here just to fill in space. And this MIDI is just setting to the kick. So that's all the sounds. So if we play them together. Yeah, pretty cool. I've never made something like that, so that was interesting. I was just kind of playing around. That's what I come up with, that hybrid kick and the percussion section. So that's percussion and synths done. Then we've got production 1, which is some extra stuff. What I've got in this one, I've got a sub drop, which is a sub destroyer. It's not a free plugin. You can make your own and automate it, but I just like that plugin. It's super great for making easy sub drops. And that only comes in just in this one section here. But what we have here is these all into a bus here, and it's called riser. So you can see here there's some automation with the volume. That's a frequency band of this EQ. Oh, it's this EQ here. So these are automated, so they run through the sweep, and then this is another band just with that. So that's the automation to kind of give it like a riser effect. And I did use this here, the Massive X, the Anxious Up, as a part of like the tone of it. That on its own gives it melody and tone in the riser, because we have this one here, which is the noise riser, which are printed down. Sounds like this. So that one's basically just printed down, and all it is just this noise generation here. You can use any noise generation. There's one built into Reaper, but basically it's just white noise and it's being automated here. You can see I've just kind of put the volume just to automate up. So that all goes into the same bus here with that automation, like I said, with this EQ, which we'll take a listen with it all together with the EQ. You can see it. So yeah, just a riser effect there. So if you want to make your own risers, that's basically how you can do it. Also in this section in production, we have a shepherd's tone, which I made with Vital as well. So this is what I created, and that's for just this section here. So shepherd tone's basically a tone that just sounds like it just keeps rising forever. And in Vital, you can make them really easy. There's like a thing here, you hit shepherd's tone on your oscillator. So I've got 1 and 2, and they're obviously the pitch down, -12, -48, and they've got different shapes here, but they are sending to this LFO, and then this shape here, as it goes up, you can see it's just like this rising effect. And that's pretty much it. And this filter as well, they're both sending to this filter just to kind of cut the highs, and some effects here, like an OTT style compressor and some distortion. And that gives it, the distortion gives it a lot of grit, which sounds cool as well. But you can kind of change these how you like, but the basics of the shepherd's tone is pretty simple here to make. And you can change the length by the bars and everything. So 16/1, so it gives it a longer time to rise, or if you want it shorter, you can make it shorter. So that's all the free instruments. I used a lot of other free stuff as well, which might be worth sharing as well, just while you're here. I use free reverbs on everything. This one here by Native Instruments, it's Ram. Some other free mixing plugins that are really awesome. This one here. So this distortion preset, which I got from one of the Nail the Mix episodes that I watched. And this is by Kilohertz. I use that on a few different things. You can see I used it again here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this gives you some new fun things to play around with and some new ideas, new tools. You haven't already used some of these already, if you have them or not. Pretty cool what you can do for absolutely nothing, like what's available. So Thank you very much, and I'll see you all in the next video.